seconds, and I think we are going to hit the opening, sort of market opening on your screen now. So you've got the Nifty, which is starting at a new high, 23,428. It's up 104 points. I think we got to 23,440-ish kind of levels yesterday at the high point. So I'm not sure if we'd really hit that, but we're there at new all-time highs for practical purposes. The Nifty Bank, I think, is also starting higher. The indices, that is. Nifty Bank is up 170. That's about 1/3%. 50,055 is where the Nifty Bank is at. The Midcap Index is up 0.8. And I'm thinking about the Small Cap Index, which is also starting in the green. So those are indices, but as always, it's about stocks. So let's get this going.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once again, the Midcap Index is off to the races. It's, the gain there is almost 1% versus the Nifty's tally of 0.5% right now. By the way, I think the L&T Finance block here, that's happens. That stock's up about 3% as we speak. Sobha, which is looking at more fundraising, rights issue, is up about 4% as well. Look at some more names in the broader screen. Transformers and rectifiers, 5% higher.
Look at life insurance is also big.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good you pointed that out. Let me pull up some of those stocks. ICICI Pru is down about 1%. Max is down about 1.5%. SBI Life is actually, positive, is up about 1%. Even HDFC Life, for that matter, is up 1%. Seems the market's kind of digested this because there's been so much back and forth over the last, I think, 6 months. These regulations have gone all over the place. And again, the narrative, at least some of what I was reading was that now, how much surrender value do you have to give in 1 year? The counter argument was that the persistency ratio is actually pretty high for policies. It's well over 80%. So, I mean, how much is the real impact? May not be that much, at least in terms of the 1 year surrender rates that have to be given in. So, actually, life insurers are managing to take this up pretty well. Nestle was the stock in news because of no higher royalty to the parent, 2.5% up on that stock as well. So these are some of the early movers and shakers as we see on the volumes charts. It's not all PSUs, which is the norm. It's some other names as well. Some of the sugar stocks, by the way, Renuka, Bajaj Hindustan, they're looking quite sweet and attractive as we start things off. So that's how it's going. Overall, 1% higher on the Midcap Index.
Well, that's right. If you look at a numerical number, we went ahead and we got that. The high of the day is 23481. So we did that 23456. That's the number that our colleagues at Avas as well have been tracking, Anuj and team. They've been talking about that 23456. Well, that came about earlier today, and now we have slipped a little bit from the top. Stocks that are moving around. Heritage Food is under some pressure. That's coming for some profit taking after the big run that we saw in the past week. And, it's down close to around 3%, but I think it was down 5%. So it's cut its losses a little bit. Heritage Foods comes up for you in the screen. Dabur, yesterday it was doing a relative outperformance. Today, in fact, that stock is under some pressure. It's down close to around 3.5% or thereabouts. So we should get that one as well up for you in the screen. Heritage Foods, Dabur, both of them are coming up. We have L&T Finance. Well, that could be the stock of the day, as we mentioned earlier today. So we just mentioned that as well. Block getting out of the way. Valuation's very attractive. So that stock is up close to around 3%. GMR Power, that's another stock that's opened up with a gain of close to around 5%. So big move is what we're seeing on that one. And Trent, yesterday they had their AGM. So that stock had opened up in the green. Valuations are not cheap. It's flattened out a little bit. They aim to maintain the pace of store additions. They're talking about 30 West Side and 200 Zudio stores. They're also highlighting that Star could be the third engine of growth. So that one, in fact, has flattened out. Yesterday it was up close to around 3% or thereabouts. So good start. Breadth of the market is something that's very, very good. We are at 8 stocks that are advancing for just one stock that's declining. But Surbi wants to come in, please.
Guys, I just want to point out that this is not limited to Dabur, Nigel. All of FMCG is under a lot of pressure.
HUL, Marico.
HUL, yeah, exactly. Marico, Colgate, Britannia, Godrej Consumer. It's just pretty much across the board.
Oh, yeah, I mean, so that's one sector. I think even yesterday, I think FMCG was one of the few sectors which was down. So there is a little bit more profit booking happening there. The last week, Friday to Friday, was a big week for FMCG stocks. The index itself ended about 7% higher. That's last week. So yeah, I mean, there is that positioning there. Heritage Foods is down 3.5%, about 4% now. I mean, and we maybe also, look at KCP, which is the other one of these movers, which is, of course, this entire election excitement with what's happening there. It's had a big move, KCP. Elecon is down 2.5%. Sun TV was a big mover yesterday. It was up about 4%. It's down about 1.7, 1.8 right now. Godrej Consumer Products is down about 1.5%. And you've got PVR Inox, which is down 1.5%. I have to point out that it's still early, but it's a little slow as opposed to what we've had right out of the gates, big volumes and a very vibrant screen. Today it's a bit slow. It's still the first few minutes, but maybe it'll change, but it's not a whole long list of big volume-led movers that we have. Soba, of course, we highlighted. Lodha is up about 5% as well, 5.25% as well. These sugar stocks are up. Renuka, Bajaj Hindustan. I mean, one can spot these. JM Financial is up about 4%. There is you got to go down the list, but DBL, Dilip Bilkon is up about 4%. A name like Kriti Industries, Nimesh had that on his D Street chatter list yesterday. 5.5% after yesterday's 20% move. Repco is up about 3.5%. But then volumes start to fade away as we go down. Reliance Power, good move yesterday. It's up about 5% this morning as well. So that's the market open. 120 odd points higher. 23,440 is where we find ourselves at.